actually just have the means to do that, invest in something and help it grow and be an alternative. Because as a fan, you will see what WWE has to offer and what it actually is missing, what is lacking, what you're not getting from that product, and you can put it into your own one. So I'm sure they're going to have some tremendous ideas. And the whole thing about like all them having the same kind of wages and even women getting the equal pay and everything, is to some degree, WWE's laid the groundwork now for women's wrestling that a lot of these people in All Elite now are going to take massive advantage of because they're going to get the people that are feeling mistreated from WWE and they're going to leave and they're going to be big stars in and have that TV power names that you just said that they might be lacking.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I say, even if you've got millions upon millions, it's not an easy thing to just start up. It's difficult because everybody, when they come along, they always compare it to WWE, but it's difficult because you don't want to always compare everything to WWE, and sometimes you've got to look at it as a standalone thing to begin with before you can go anywhere near comparing it to something like WWE that's so well established. But what does seem apparent to me is the fact that they're already, suggestions that they are talking to people like Time Warner, and Khan apparently has a really good deal, like a really good relationship with these people. And if they can get them on that station, then that is huge because by all accounts, that's almost, I think that's more than what Fox have got with the WWE deal. So they'd be in more homes than what WWE are, and potentially, if of course the people start to watch it. But that's still a very good platform to start from. And if you market this right and it's all done with, very well marketed and, the build-up is good, then you never know. The takeoff of this might just set it alight again. And I guess what will be interesting, Matt, is how it's presented. Are they just going to go for the sort of more indie-based style wrestling, or are they going to sort of mix and match it a little bit? Because I think, if anything, Matt, knowing Cody's a smart guy, he will probably realise that, okay, the indie stuff's good, but are people really going to put money down for it and invest in it every week? Or are they going to need something else? And I get the feeling he will be smart enough to realise that he might need some star power as well. And by the sounds of it, mate, it might take a few big signings. I definitely think, they need, a few big names in there. Of course, lots of names flying around. The name that always comes up, Matt, is CM Punk. But is that really likely at the moment, Matt, do you think?
I wouldn't say it is. Of course, you can never rule anything out in wrestling. There's always that possibility. No. But I feel like if he was interested, I feel like he'd still wait because he's done a good job of it so far, and there's still the long wait, still the more he can charge someone for a match. His rate just goes up and up because the desperation from the fans just becomes more and more. People just really want this guy back.
What do you think of? Where do you think Kenny Omega ends up, Matt? Do you think he goes WWE, or do you think he's going to sign with All Elite Wrestling? One thing I will say before you answer that, Matt, I might just throw this in the works. What has been announced, New Japan came out recently, Matt. I don't know if you saw it, but they said they will not be working with All Elite Wrestling. They will stick with their current deal of Ring of Honor. And I think that purely comes down to the fact that they have a date at Madison Square Garden. They know that they're going to bring New Japan to a big arena like that. I mean, not in size, but it's a famous place to get into. And I think for New Japan, I think it's at the moment they don't know anything about All Elite Wrestling, so they're not just going to suddenly go, right, we're having Ring of Honor, we're going to go here. They're obviously they know they've got already commitments, and I think what they've said is it has to be one or the other. So they are sticking with Ring of Honor, but they have said as from now they will not be using any of All Elite Wrestling. So that's sort of thrown a little bit of a spanner in the works, I guess, in terms of guys going back and forth. It does seem like this is a full-time gig. What do you think about Kenny Omega, Matt? Do you think he signs with WWE and we see him as early as the Rumble, or do you think there's a chance he says no to, the big dogs, which would obviously turn a lot of heads, I feel.
Well, I think he's a highly intelligent guy, so I feel like the only person that really knows how that's going to pan out is himself. I feel like even the stuff he would have told his friends would have been just like perhaps and maybes. I don't think anyone's going to truly know what because no one's going to get the pen and paper and have it laid in front of him except for him. Only he knows what's been offered and what he can make. The thing with All Elite though is that it's a gamble. Right now he's at the hottest point in his career and at the peak of his game. And if he goes there and it doesn't work out, does his stock kind of diminish a little bit? Right now he can probably go to WWE and get a really, really good deal. So it's all going to be weighing it up and down. And as far as New Japan's concerned about working with All Elite, it is still a gamble. Everyone is a bit nervous. If Kenny was to join there, that would be another bargaining chip for them later down the line to work with them. Yeah,
obviously the Madonna of wrestling, Matt, Chris Jericho, incredible, isn't it? Still involved in professional wrestling. He's in this. He turned up at the rally, gave a speech. I mean, amazing, isn't it, Matt? Chris Jericho still as passionate as ever, and now is going to help somebody, essentially get off the ground here. But I know people will think that's not such a big thing, but it kind of is, because if you've got someone like Chris Jericho in the locker room, so much experience, such a good performer and knowledgeable. Again, I think it kind of helps him in a lot of ways to have Chris Jericho there and do that. And again, it's just incredible, isn't it, Matt, to think that Jericho is still wanting this. He could so easily just do little gigs at WWE and get paid handsomely and be done with it, but he still chooses, Matt, to be around. He's involved with All In. He goes to New Japan. He's here, there, and everywhere. He's doing his thing on a boat. He's working with TNA. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? But here he is now, Matt, with All Elite Wrestling. What did you make of that? I mean, did you pretty much think that was a guarantee?
I wouldn't say it was a guarantee, because he can sort of pick and choose exactly what he wants to be and what he wants to do. And the fact that he is involved does mean a lot. I mean, that's a guy that you definitely want in your corner. And I'm kind of not too surprised he's not too eager to go back to WWE, because it does seem like he's at that stage of his career now where he is more focused on creating a star out of other people than he is adding to his own list of accomplishments. And it is a shame that WWE they kind of brought it on themselves, because they've let Jericho down so many times now. He's tried to help younger, less established stars. He even had a WrestleMania match with Fandango, didn't he? He's willing to, and he lost. He's willing to actually do this for young guys, and all the work he put in with Kevin Owens for them to then just waste it. I'm not surprised he's not eager to go back to WWE anytime soon, really. Yeah,
I mean, in a lot of ways, what has he got to prove in that now? I mean, he's done pretty much everything. First undisputed champion, multiple time Intercontinental champion, tag team. I mean, what is there left? So I think if he's somebody that really cares about his legacy, he's definitely ending this really well. That's for sure. I think he's branching himself out to an even bigger audience that weren't probably that familiar with him, but they certainly are now. Which is good. Matt, just to sort of sum up on this, obviously, with the All Elite Wrestling, the only thing we know thus far that is booked is the pay-per-view, which is going to be, with the show that's going to be called Double or Nothing, which is going to take place May the 25th, 2019 from Las Vegas, Nevada, in the MGM Grand. So, obviously, they've set that now, Matt. So there's a while, but not that long when you think about it, Matt. But obviously it's going to be interesting to see from now until then what's going to happen and what other announcements are going to be. I will say one thing, Matt. We hear that there's a few contracts coming up in WWE, guys like AJ Styles and stuff like that. Do you think that they, obviously they talk to one another, you can't say they don't. But do you think someone like AJ Styles, who's he's gone to the WWE, not kind of like Nakamura where he didn't get the belt, but he did get the belt. He had a very good run. Do you think he's the sort of guy similar to Jericho, where he's all about legacy, and all of a sudden he thinks, well, I've done everything I need to do in WWE. I'm kind of ready to move on again. You know, he went New Japan. He didn't go straight to WWE. Left TNA, went New Japan, won the title, went to WWE. Is this another place you could go to, Matt, with, again, more sort of, I guess, more familiar surroundings around him in that environment, to sort of have the, you know, you've almost got the collar let off, because you can do so much more different things, whereas WWE, there is a little bit of a tightrope sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's a difficult one. He definitely has been in every company, and it could be another one to tick off the box. But I feel like he's been accepted by WWE in a way that not a lot of wrestlers have been. So whether he feels grateful towards that, and maybe it's a nice and comfy role to see out into his retirement, you know, if he sticks around there that long, you know, it's hard to tell what a preference someone has. I mean, he obviously enjoys the touring part of it. He's been in every country nearly, so it could be an exciting new adventure for him, but I would put my money on him staying with WWE for at least another couple of years. Yeah,
fair enough. Well, yeah, I'm sure there are a few guys. Zack Ryder will be one of them. The things I need to get out of here. We know his friendship with the guys. So, yeah, you know, maybe Nakamura thinks I could have a better run in the US there. I don't know. But I'm sure there are guys that are looking eagerly. Now they know the money's there. That, you know, because a lot of guys stay in WWE because of the money, because there's nowhere else sometimes. But, you know, now there is another platform here that is saying they can offer as much. You know, you never know what that might lead to. So interesting times ahead, I feel, on that, and obviously we'll be reporting every bit of news we get until then on who they get. Obviously more rumours floating around about Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay as well. You know, lots of different names going around at the minute. And it'll be interesting as well, Matt, to see what Ring of Honor do as well, because obviously it's a little bit of a hole now in their roster, isn't it, to sort of lose these guys all at one go. But I'm not as concerned as what a lot of people have been suggesting about, you know, this is terrible for Ring of Honor, blah, 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 because I just got a feeling they knew this was coming. The Ring of Honor, they've already started signing up fresh people. They're not going to have as established people, but trust me, because Ring of Honor is such a consistent product, it won't take them that long to build new people, because they're so good at it. They've been doing it for the last goodness knows how long, and unlike TNA, they kind of know where they are. They don't really level above what they are. I mean, they just stick to what they know, and that's it. They don't go crazy on the entrances, and I just think they've got better management there, so I'm not as concerned for them. And of course, they've still got the New Japan deal as well, which is going to help them. So I think it's still going to be a good product to watch, and a good place for any indie wrestler to want to get to. So I'm not too fussed about that. And of course, they got the big Madison Square Garden show, which is what they'll probably be looking at now on that front. So yeah, it's been an interesting week, no doubt about that. For you, Matt, is there a good takeaway, the best that you've heard about it? I mean, for you, All Elite Wrestling, is this just like another thing you're thinking to yourself already, this is another couple of hours I'll have to fill in my day, because there's so much stuff out there already on WWE?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, I'm checking my calendar, trying to see what I can arrange. But yeah, maybe get back to that later. But yeah, if it gets to a time slot on TV, I'm going to be there watching it.
Yeah, it'll be good. Hopefully they do get a good TV deal. I think that's very, very important. And, I know WWE always say, they're not that fast and there's no competition. But, they can definitely... You've seen them with Ring of Honor. They say they're not bothered, but they certainly get involved when they want to. You only have to go back to that MSG incident where they were thrown off of it, and then all of a sudden they got it back on again. So they do look out. They I know they say they don't look at anybody else, but they certainly do. That's for sure. And I think Triple H has definitely always got an eye on what goes on in the Indies, that's for sure. We've seen it in the UK when World of Sport got announced, and all of a sudden this UK thing came along. So